Today, I will show you a romance and comedy movie from 2017, titled, The Little Hours. Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The Little Hours is a romantic comedy movie that is set in a convent and tells the story of some nuns and their dirty little secrets. As the movie began, we were shown Sister Fernanda leading a donkey through the forest to the convent. Just as she was putting it back in its stall, Sister Ginevra came to meet her and asked her why the donkey keeps escaping, and Sister Fernanda told her that she does not know and Sister Ginevra should stop asking her so many questions. We were then introduced to Sister Alessandra, who was by herself. Her father came to see her the next day in the convent and told that the man she was supposed to marry was asking for a huge dowry that he can't afford. He told her the marriage had been called off and that she would have to stay at the convent for some more time. This news angered her as she was eager to leave the convent. Later, as the three sisters were heading toward the housing part of the convent, they passed by the groundskeeper and he stared at them. This got the sisters angry, as they had warned him many times not to speak to them or look at them. They angrily attacked him with vegetables and farming tools and warned him not to ever speak or look at them again. The movie then showed us a castle where a lord called Bruno was having dinner with his wife called Francesca. Lord Bruno was ranting on and on about finances and wars with other lands, but his wife was not interested and ignored him. She was, however, exchanging eye contact with Massetto, who was their manservant and was standing nearby. It turned out that they were having an affair and often make love in Lord Bruno's absence. In the evening, while Massetto and Francesca were having one of their sexual escapades, Lord Bruno walked in on them and Massetto had to escape through the window and he ran back to the servants' quarters. Bruno followed him to the servants' quarters, but Massetto had already gotten to the bed and pretended to be sleeping. Bruno then tried to get him by placing his hands on all the servants' chest and finally detected Massetto's increased heartbeat, but because it was dark, he could not identify him. Bruno then cut off Massetto's ponytail so that he would be able to identify him in the morning. Massetto was smart. However, when Bruno left, he immediately cut off all the servants' ponytails so he won't be recognized. When it was in the morning, Bruno could not identify him and this made him angry. Later that day, Bruno's wife Francesca tried to make love to Massetto in the open as her hormones were raging and she had lost any sense of discretion. Unfortunately, Bruno spotted them and ordered his guards to catch Massetto and cut off his balls. Massetto ran away and fled into the forest before the guards could catch him. It was in this forest that he came across Father Tommaso from the convent, who was already drunk and had his cart filled with items he wanted to sell overturned. All the items were scattered all over the place and Massetto pitied him and helped him gather everything. To thank him for the help he rendered, Tommaso offered him shelter for the night at the convent. Massetto then revealed that he was running from Lord Bruno and he needed a place to stay low for a while. He also told him about his affair with Francesca and that he was ashamed of committing a sin. Tommaso then pitied him and offered him the job of the groundskeeper, as the former groundskeeper had left the job after being attacked by the sisters. Tommaso then tells him to pretend to be mute and deaf so that the sisters will have no reason to be abusive to him. The next day, as Massetto was working in the courtyard, Fernanda saw him, and since she had never seen him before, she wanted to attack him and asked him who he was. Just at that moment, the head of the convent, Sister Maria, came and informed Fernanda that Massetto was the new groundskeeper. However, both Fernanda and Alessandra were suspicious about him and wondered what his motives could be. Later that evening, someone threw stones at Fernanda's window. When Fernanda opened the window, she saw that it was Marta, her friend, who came around to hang out with her. They both went to Alessandra's room where the three of them drank wine. Ginevra joined them later and she reluctantly drank the wine with them. Marta then told them that making love to a man was the greatest pleasure in the world. She told them that she had heard that there was a way to use belladonna plant to make a potion that can seduce any man. Soon enough, they were all drunk and Fernanda and Marta started to kiss each other. They tried to remove Ginevra's clothes, but Ginevra said she was tired and needed to go back to her room, so Fernanda helped her get there. On getting to Ginevra's room, Ginevra kissed Fernanda and they ended up making love. The next morning, Fernanda and Marta went into the woods to find the belladonna plant and create the potion. After they found it, Marta made the potion and warned Fernanda not to drink it. She, however, put some drops of the potion into Fernanda's eyes. Unknown to them, Ginevra had been watching them from a distance. Fernanda and Marta then went into Massetto's room and sexually assaulted him. They wanted to find out if the potion was doing its work. They undressed him and started kissing him. Suddenly they stopped and left his room. Not long after then, Alessandra went to Massetto and started complaining about her life to him, thinking he cannot hear her. She then kissed him as she was longing to be with a man, and Massetto kissed her back. They then tried to make love, but Massetto stopped, realizing they were in the open and would be easily spotted. Ginevra then confronted Fernanda and asked her if what they did the last night meant anything to her, but Fernanda said they were just drunk and having fun and it was nothing more to her. This broke Ginevra's heart as she had felt love for someone for the very first time. The next day, Bishop Bartolomeo came to visit the convent and was welcomed by Tommaso and Maria. They both gave him a tour of the convent. Meanwhile, Massetto snuck into Alessandra's room and they began to make love when an elderly nun entered the room. However, she didn't seem to notice them and she began embroidering fabrics. Alessandra gathered herself and immediately joined the older nun in embroidering fabric. Massetto then got up and quickly escaped through the window, but while escaping, he briefly spoke, giving away his disguise. Ginevra had gone ahead and created the belladonna portion following the same process that Fernanda and Marta did. However, she drank the potion instead. Later, Alessandra went to confront Massetto on his lying about being mute and deaf, but while Massetto was trying to explain himself, Ginevra came in. Alessandra quickly went to hide behind a wall while Ginevra attempted to seduce Massetto as she was high on the belladonna potion. But she then stopped and realized that she was gay. Just then, Fernanda came in and Ginevra had to hide behind the same wall that Alessandra was hiding behind. Fernanda put a knife to Massetto's throat, bound his hands and took him with her. Both Alessandra and Ginevra then followed them into the woods and discovered a coven of nude witches dancing round a bonfire. Massetto had been tied an altar and Fernanda got on top of him as she intended to kill him after making love with him. Ginevra, still high from the belladonna, joined the witches and started dancing with them. They soon discovered that she wasn't one of them and Ginevra started screaming and attacking them. Marta tried to calm Ginevra down, but Ginevra knocks her out with a totem stick. Fernanda still wanted to kill Massetto, but Alessandra stopped her and Massetto then spoke, revealing that he was not mute and deaf to everyone. Ginevra also then confesses that she was not only a gay but a Jewish as well. Ginevra then ran away naked on the donkey back to the convent and started knocking on everyone's door to tell them that Fernanda is a witch. The bishop also woke up to find Ginevra running in the hallway naked and the other sisters including Massetto also come there. Ginevra accused Fernanda of witchcraft and Alessandra of sleeping with Massetto. Alessandra also got angry and revealed that Ginevra was a gay and was a Jewish. Just then, Tommaso and Maria came out of Maria's room and it was obvious they had been making love, which shocked the bishop. The next day, the bishop read out all sins they had all committed and the sisters were all given penance. However, Tommaso was stripped of his priesthood and was sent away to be a monk at a monastery. Massetto was sent back to Lord Bruno's castle where he was imprisoned. While gathering flowers one day, the sisters apologized to each other for the betrayals and they forgive each other. They were however worried that Massetto might be killed. Meanwhile, at the castle, Lord Bruno revealed to Massetto that he now had a new wife who will be a better lover once she reaches puberty. He also told him that he found out that Francesca was from an enemy village and he had therefore locked her within a wall with a boar and a dog. As a thank you gesture, Bruno promised to keep Massetto alive for as long as possible, but he will torture him every day till he dies. As soon as Lord Bruno leaves, Massetto began to beg the guards to help him escape, but they refused and were mocking him instead. Just then, a turtle with a candle on its back walked by and drew the attention of the guards. It had been brought by the sisters to distract the guards. The guards fell for the trick and followed the turtle in wonder. The sisters then sneaked into the prison and freed Massetto. They left a dummy in his place and dressed him a nun's habit. All of them successfully escaped from the castle and they fled into the woods. In the meantime, Maria had taken the donkey and was going to meet Tommaso in the woods. They met and embraced each other, confessing their love for one another. Just then, the sisters and Massetto came running by, so Tommaso and Maria hid nearby. Fernanda saw the donkey standing alone and was curious about it, but Ginevra grabbed her and told her to run. After they ran into the woods, Tommaso and Maria kissed each other and were happy to finally be together. The end.